Let's see what a ratio is and how it is represented. One ratio is the comparison of two quantities. Ratios can be expressed using words, with a colon, or in a fractional way. Let's look at each example individually. Here, we are being asked to write the ratio of circles to squares. The order that the words are in is very important. The question is asking for the ratio of circles and then squares, so first we would write down the number of circles and then the number of squares. Here we can see that we have 6 circles and we have 2 squares. So the written ratio is 6 circles to 2 squares, but instead of words, we just write the 2 numbers. So that was looking at ratios with words. Another way to write a ratio is through the use of a colon. Again, I write the first number, which is 6, and then I put a colon, which is similar to the division symbol. Here, I am saying 6 circles and 2 squares. And the final way is in fractional form, which is not actually representing a fraction, but instead showing a ratio. Again, since we are talking about 6 circles and 2 squares, we would put 6 over 2. This way of representing a ratio may look like a fraction, but because we are comparing two quantities to each other, we know that it is a ratio instead. Alright, here we have an example of the 3 ways ratios can be expressed. One as a written ratio, one with a colon, and one as a fraction. Let's find another ratio. We are now being asked for the ratio of triangles to squares. We know that we have 4 triangles and 2 squares. Because of the order of the words, we know that we are being asked for the number of triangles first, and then squares. The ratio of triangles to squares would then be 4 to 2. Once we have found that the same ratio can be expressed using a colon, with 4 triangles to 2 squares. And the last way to write the ratio would be in fractional form, 4 triangles and 2 squares. And in all 3, the ratio remains the same, 4 to 2. Here we also have 4 to 2, and here we also have 4 to 2. Remember that this fractional form is not considered an actual fraction because we are talking about ratios. The last ratio we will find is the ratio of triangles to circles and then, again, paying attention to the order of the words. The first way to write it is 4 to 6, which is the written way. The second way is using the colon. It is 4 to 6. The first word listed is always the first number written. And finally, we have the fractional form, 4 on the top and 6 on the bottom, and we can interpret that the ratio is 4 to 6. In any case, I am talking about the same ratio, and I can represent it in any way. I can use one form or the other, as long as I am respecting the order. Here it says circles to squares, so I have 6 circles and 2 squares. Triangles to squares, 4 triangles and 2 squares. The last ratio is triangles to circles. Well, I have 4 triangles and 6 circles, and in all cases, I read 6 to 2, or here, 4 to 2, or in this case, 4 to 6.